AP Calculus AB, derivatives of exponential functions. Today I want to use the standard normal probabilities density function. Wow, really? Um, just to find this second derivative here of this exponential function. So given that f of x is equal to 1 over the square root of 2 pi e to the negative x squared over 2, we're asked to find the second derivative. So I guess the first one is find the first derivative. And I think we can agree that this is d dx of e to the f of x, or e to the u, which we should know is actually equal to e to the f of x times f prime at x. So that's the angle I want to take at this thing. So hopefully you're with me on that. So I'm going to start by taking the first derivative. And the first derivative is just the same thing over, which is 1 over square root 2 pi e to the negative x squared over 2. Now, keeping in mind that this is that f of x value right here, and we want to take the derivative of that thing. We want to take the derivative of this. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to write on the side just for a second. I'm going to write that I want d dx of negative 1/2 x squared, which is just, if you look at it, it's just negative x, isn't it? So times negative x. Is that all right? So hopefully that made good sense to you. Now, to take the second derivative is a little bit trickier, because now we're going to have a product rule problem, I think, where this is the first function right here, and the second function is this negative x function. So I'm going to take the second derivative, and I'm going to use the rules of the power rule to do that. So if you remember, it's f of x, so it's f of x, which is e to the negative x squared halves, times g prime at x. I want the first derivative of this thing, which is just negative 1, isn't it? And then just continuing with that product rule, plus this, right? Plus negative x, that's g of x, times f prime at x. So now I want the derivative of this piece, right? I take the derivative of this piece right here, which I happen to know because I already did it, is 1 over square root 2 pi e to the negative x squared halves, right, times negative x. And now when I start to put all this stuff together, I'm going to finally get my second derivative function. I'll be able to say that f prime at x, f double prime at x, this negative 1 times this is negative 1 over square root 2 pi e to the negative x squared halves, right, plus, check this out, negative x times negative x is positive x squared, isn't it? So when I'm multiplying this out of order, but they're factors, so it doesn't matter what order I multiply them in, times this factor here, and I'm not going to multiply this in, it doesn't help me in any way, 2 over 5, e to the negative x squared halves. This is a real pain. It can be done, and the only thing I wanted to do is, part of the reason I chose this problem is because I want to make sure that you see that if you're doing this on the multiple choice section, they're going to clean this algebra up. So I'm going to have to clean my algebra a little bit. And if you look carefully, you can see that both of these terms have a factor of 1 over square root 2 pi e to the negative x squared halves. That factor's here and here. So I'm going to factor that out. So here's that factor right here. Square root 2 pi e to the x squared halves, right? Times, and then times x squared, right? So if I multiply this times this, I get this piece back. And I'm putting it out of order because I want to hide this negative sign. Minus 1. And if you take a second to look at this, you can see that if you multiply this thing back into here, you get this whole thing back. So I hope this was really helpful. It's a real pain, but you got to kind of practice this a lot. Kind of try to keep an open mind about it. There's no way you're not going to see this on the AP exam, so you might as well kind of get good at it. If you have any comments, please make them. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. And again, as always, thanks so much for watching.